Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Cruise in Review podcast. I'm Blake.
And I'm Audrey.
It is so good to have you with us here. Episode 2 of the Cruise in Review podcast. Thank you so much to everybody who joined in for the inaugural episode, and thank you so much for returning. We don't get just a ton of repeat listeners. Hopefully we get tons of repeat customers, maybe on the travel agency side of things. That's kind of how business is built, but we are so glad that you have decided to join us once again for a very exciting episode today as we talk about our travels. We give you tips, we give you tricks, we talk about cruises that are out there that you can take, we talk about land travel, we talk about just about anything that you want to know here on our podcast.
Yeah, and hopefully we encourage you to want to travel, and especially those that may be a little fearful for travel. We're trying to make it a little more comfortable for you guys by explaining how to do things, how things work, what to expect. So, you know, I hope you watched last week's, and we're glad to have you back if you're returning or if you're brand new. Hey, welcome. We're excited to have you.
Absolutely. Norris Frog is our boss. He is our producer. I actually have, I'm using his coffee mug today. So I'm using the Norris Frog coffee mug because he's the boss and he knows it. He's, again, all about putting everybody in their right positions here at CruiseNReview. So, again, we're going to do that. What we're doing right now currently on the show is we are working our way through our most recent cruise, which was a 7-night Southern Caribbean cruise from San Juan. It visited tons of good islands, St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. Martin, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Kitts, again, round trip from San Juan. So we're working our way through that. On the previous episode, we worked our way through boarding day in San Juan and just some boarding day tips in general. And today, we will be going through St. Thomas. So, a beautiful island there. Be sure to subscribe. At the very end of the episode, we actually have a giveaway opportunity for those that subscribe to the podcast and the blog.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So, I don't know if we want to give details away just yet, so because you got to watch till the end.
No.
So,
and do not fast forward to the end. We will know.
Yes.
We'll send Norris Frog to get you. He's the enforcer here.
It's terrifying. So he's the producer, the enforcer. He keeps everybody in line, no matter the situation.
Yeah,
so,
and also the world's best boss as well. Norris Frog. Thank you very much. Great to be under his tutelage.
I think he bought that mug himself.
100%. Yeah, 100% did. Yeah, 100%. So that's at the end of the episode, but today is St. Thomas. So it's day number 2 of our cruise. But we also always go through some of our cruises of the week. Again, always a reminder, if you see me looking off here to the right, that is our rundown is over here to the right. But we do have some news of the week, and it was a busy news week in the cruise industry once again. Royal Caribbean making some headlines, whether, I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but they actually announced kind of their musical that will be on board Icon of the Seas, which comes out in January of 2024. It will be The Wizard of Oz. It's announced and was kind of confirmed by Nick Weir, who's their Senior Vice President of Entertainment. But Royal Caribbean Entertainment actually posted a casting call on the internet for Wizard of Oz on board Icon of the Seas. That's how we figured the whole thing out. It will join Grease, Mamma Mia, Hairspray, Cats, and We Will Rock You as the featured kind of name brand musicals. They all have their they have some in-house production stuff that they do as well. Again, Icon launches in January of 2024, and Cruise and Review will be on board in February of 2024.
Yes. And this is probably one of my most anticipated announcements for me. I love the shows. Royal Caribbean does a great job with their productions. Like Blake mentioned, all the ones that they currently have, and we've gotten the pleasure to get to see Grease, We Will Rock You. So it's always amazing what they do on a cruise ship. And so I was so excited to see this announcement yesterday. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And Norris Frog, I think, is going to try to go audition. He is looking to play the Wicked Witch, hopefully.
Yeah. He was the green baby in Wicked when they held him up. It's a very small part, not a non-speaking role. So he's really going out of his way this time. So. No
makeup required. So he's looking forward to that. But seriously, I mean, we cannot wait. February 2024, we're going to be on there. I mean, Wizard of Oz, it's going to be awesome.
Yep. And so since 2009, Royal Caribbean has added musicals to all of their new build ships. And so very exciting for them as well. Disney made a big announcement during the week. This is Disney Parks. They unveiled all the Disney thrills, #all the Disney thrills for 2023, keeping in mind that the 50th anniversary will end at the end of March on March 31st. Which they go back to happily ever after, I do believe. It's kind of where they've gone back for that celebration. They also announced that Rodeo Roundup Barbecue will be coming to Hollywood Studios. It will be in Toy Story Land.
Imagine that.
Yep. First Toy Story table service in the world, and will bring more toy-sized, tasty fun to Hollywood Studios. You can read more on that at CruiseNReview.com.
Yeah, again, exciting news for Disney. You know, we had some Disney news last week. We had more Disney news this week. So for all you Disney lovers, we can absolutely help you plan your next vacation to Disney World. And
we can do Disney World or Disney Cruises. There are Disney-specific travel agents out there that sometimes tell people that those of us cannot. And they're lying.
Yes, that is false, because
Rude.
we are, you know, we're a couple, you know, you could classify us as Disney adults. We do love Disney.
We massively slurped my coffee right into the microphone. Sorry about that.
You know, you're ridiculous.
I can't help it. I'm sorry.
So
That's what I do.
So, you know, Blake and I both have been to Disney World many times, so we're very familiar with the parks. We've been to Universal Studios, so, you know, whether it's a land vacation, cruise vacation, we can definitely help you book it. And it's awesome to see that, though Disney's been around for, golly, forever, they're still launching and releasing new things all the time. So, pretty cool.
Yeah. Carnival Cruise Line became the first to 100 million guests. Debbie and David Clifford from Ohio. I'm not sure which one was the 100th million guests.
Yeah.
One of them was the 100 millionth, and the other one was 100 million and one. I'm not sure which one. They can discuss that later. They were met by the captain, CEO Christine Duffy. Carnival does have 3 new ships joining the fleet next year. They are America's largest cruise line, and you can find them anywhere.
Yeah.
Much like some other places.
That is pretty cool. I'm kind of jealous that they were marked as the 100th million guests for Carnival. I mean, that's a title no one else is going to be able to hold. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool deal for them. And, you know, that's a high volume cruise line that has really a staple, especially, you know, not all of our listeners are from where we're from, which is Arkansas or our area, but very popular here because of they have a dominant status in New Orleans. Anyway, big ups to them, and of course CEO Christine Duffy and all involved there. And a new theme park has opened in the Caribbean, Kathmandu. What you gonna do in Kathmandu? Kathmandu Punta Cana opened this past week. Features unique dining experience, activities, and thrills. Located less than 1 mile from popular beach resorts, and located adjacent to Coquetel Golf and Country Club there in Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. So
That's
a lot
pretty
of
cool.
people visit, whether it's by cruise ship or whether it is by land vacation to resort to Punta Cana.
Now, that's pretty cool. I mean, you know, I feel like America's really good on the theme parks. We've got tons all over the place. But to see them, you know, expand out into the Caribbean, I mean, that's a cool feature. You know, when you go to the Caribbean, you think beach, you think snorkeling, you think all these tropical things. But hey, let's go to a theme park. I mean, that's definitely going to be something different. That's awesome. That's really neat.
Most of the rides, though, are VR, I saw. So you're out.
Oh, yeah.
You're
I'm
out
gone.
on that.
I'm gone.
You should have seen what happened at Universal Studios whenever we rode that ride. And
Hogwarts. Let's just say.
Or Dumbledore.
Yeah, let's just say I'm never going to get my letter to Hogwarts, which is devastating.
Absolutely not. You've been expelled.
Yeah. Dumbledore and I are probably not going to be friends if we ever get to meet. So.
No, that wasn't good.
No.
So we may have to stay away from. We know what we're not going to do.
Blake can
Kathmandu.
ride. Blake and Norse Frog.
Yeah. All right, so that's our news of the week. You can read more news on CruiseNReview.com. All right, let's move on to our topic of the day, and that is, of course, St. Thomas. It was day 2 of our cruise. This is part of a 7-night Southern Caribbean cruise from San Juan and to San Juan. This was the second day of the cruise. Last week, we covered boarding day. If you want to know all about our boarding day, that is there. You can watch that later on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcast. So that's what we did last week. So we arrived into St. Thomas. It was a beautiful, anytime you go into. So I'm going to set the stage of St. Thomas and also St. Martin. St. Thomas and St. Martin are the gateways to the Caribbean. They are a great way to start it. The Eastern Caribbean and the Southern Caribbean are what cruising is all about. Some of the prettiest areas in the entire world. And to me, St. Thomas and St. Martin are the gateway to the Eastern and Southern Caribbean. And when you sail into them, you know immediately this is not any other destination. It's got rocks coming up out of the water, and we were just met. I got out in the balcony. You were still asleep. I got out of the balcony just by myself, and the sun was coming up over the mountains, and you can see some video of that here. But just a beautiful sail into St. Thomas, and you will realize very quickly This is not your average destination.
Yeah, and I always love St. Thomas too because it was one of the first destinations that I went to when we my first cruise back in 2012, and so it's always fun to come back to the place that you fell in love with the what made you fall in love with the Caribbean for the first time. Now I classify myself as spoiled because that was where I got to go first, and it's a place that you can't miss it. It's incredible. The views are incredible. The beaches are incredible, and I know we're going to get into that. But it's also they speak English, so it's a U.S. Virgin Island. So that if you're a little nervous about going to countries that that may not be U.S. territories, I mean, it's definitely a place that you'll feel comfortable. They speak English. They've got familiar shops. The beaches are gorgeous. I mean, you can't miss it.
And again, you mentioned it. It was a good point. Most people's introduction to the Eastern Caribbean is going to be St. Thomas and St. Martin. That's a very popular. A lot of times the cruise will hit the Bahamas, and then it will go on down to those couple of islands there. St. Thomas, again, a U.S. Virgin Island. If you fly in there, you don't have to have a passport. It's just like traveling nationally within the United States. So very, very popular for that reason. And then it is also, again, a gateway to a lot of other things. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about the port of St. Thomas. Now, there's two different ports in St. Thomas that you dock at. Yes. And I have been a little critical of Royal Caribbean over choosing Crown Bay, which is west of the traditional and original cruise port, which is in Long Bay. So if you go on Carnival, Princess, Disney, you're going to dock over in Long Bay, which is really where the heart of the action is. All the shops are there.
Middle of the town.
You can go into and go up Paradise Point, which is they got a little gondola thing there. You can go up. It's very nice. And a lot of the shopping is there. Royal Caribbean, when they launched Oasis Class, was concerned about getting the Oasis of the Seas due to its size in and out of Long Bay, so they built the port over at Crown Bay. It's a nice port. There's shopping, there's everything else, but it's a little bit of a ways away. We're talking about a taxi ride over to a lot of the main shopping that if you're going to go outside of the port. Not a problem if you're doing excursions. There's a ton of taxis over there. It is a nice area. It's just a little bit away from the epicenter of Charlotte-Amalie in St. Thomas. So that's the thing. But there is a ton of shopping in St. Thomas, kind of in that heart. If you're at Crown Bay, just jump in a taxi. Yeah. They will load you with a bunch of other people. It's like $5 a person. They're these open air taxis. We rode in one. There's a picture of it here. And then they'll take you over actually to the Long Bay area where there's probably going to be some other cruise ships. You can do your shopping and everything there. You can take a taxi to wherever you want to go. If it's your favorite beach, if it's whatever, they're very easily accessible at the port. And again, a lot of times they'll find you a group of people that are going the same direction, and it will only cost you a few bucks as opposed to, $20, $30.
Yeah, because one thing I noticed about Crown Bay, which is where we were docked, if you're somebody that likes to get off and get something to eat or get something to drink, Crown Bay had, I think, one restaurant, maybe one bar. So, you're going to want to get in a taxi and you're going to want to go over to Long Bay or another area on the island to find some food. I feel like St. Thomas, the people are very friendly, very, again, they speak English. So it's not a port that you want to make sure, you can go venture outside the port. It's a safe place. It's a fun place. And you want to make sure you do, get some local food and get some of the local beer if that's, something you enjoy, because these Caribbean islands, I mean, the food is incredible. Oh, yeah. So, venture out. Do not be afraid to get in a taxi and go somewhere and really experience the island, because you're just gonna amplify your vacation by doing that.
Especially in places like St. Thomas, St. Martin, they're so safe. In fact, they're a lot of times safer than where you're from. I assure you. And so what are some of the best things to do? We'll talk about what we did here in a minute, but we don't just want to skip over because we've been a couple of times. So we will venture out and do other things when our favorite activity may actually be something else. We want to see everything. So we don't want to just repeat the same activity over and over and over again, even though when we find it, we will do it multiple times. But some of the best things to do, if you go to St. Thomas and you're a beach person and you want to go to a beach, one of the top beaches of all time is Magens Bay.
Oh, yeah. Magens Bay. That was the first beach that I went to ever.
Spoiled.
Yeah. #spoiled. And it ruins you. It does. If that's the first beach you've ever seen and spent time on, you're done. Nothing else compares, because the water, it's a bay. So there's not waves crashing in. There's, it's something that you can walk out and wade in. You're not going to feel like you're going to get trampled over. There's no rocks. There's no seaweed.
undertow.
No. It's incredible. You just got to see it. Golly.
It really is. And it was hit really, really hard by a hurricane about 5 or 6 years ago. The last time we visited, because one of the best things about it, there's really no development on the beach. There's some houses around in the bay up high on the mountains. But one of the best things about it is it's lined with palm trees. It's like something you would see in a magazine, and then it's got a little island that you can see that kind of comes up out of the water, and it was also, lined with vegetation and growth, and some of that had been taken out. Now it has recovered. They did a really good job. It has recovered. Everything I've heard is it is back to its original form. And if you go Google top beaches in the world, Magens Bay is going to consistently be there. So don't miss that if you're a beach person and you've never been to St. Thomas, or if you've been to St. Thomas and somebody has led you astray and has not taken you to Magens Bay, go there first. There's also a couple of other places. There's Honeymoon Beach. If you've been to Magens Bay and you're looking for something else, very nice beach. Sapphire Beach. We went to Secret Sands Beach. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. The good thing about anytime you're traveling around St. Thomas, particularly if you're going to any beaches, you're going to get to go down Skyline Drive and a scenic overlook. Almost all tours, even if you're in a taxi, you're going to have to go down Skyline Drive. And you're going to see this here, an amazing shot from up on the highest point of St. Thomas. You can see the harbor, you can see the catamarans and yachts and everything else docked down there. And it is, again, breathtaking. They have vendors up there. Yeah. There's donkeys up there if you want to get your picture made with or on one of those. They sell beer, they sell water, they sell food. And a lot of times your tour or taxi will take you there. And if not, just jump in a taxi and have them drive you up there.
Yeah, and you can also, I think it's neat that you can see all the cruise ships no matter which dock you're at from Skyline Drive. Like Blake said, you can see the catamarans, the harbor, you can see the whole island. And as someone that's a little bit of a nerd when it comes to cruise ships, I think that's so cool that you can see all the ships and you can get a big picture. You can get, it's a great photo op moment. You can get a great picture of everything behind you. I just think it's so neat. You can't miss it.
Yeah, it is really cool. And again, that's a good example of where Crown Bay is versus Long Bay. You can actually see that in the video there. And also, too, one of the best things to do from St. Thomas is actually to leave St. Thomas and go to St. John, which is what we were intending to do on this stop. It got canceled because of operational difficulties. So we didn't get to go over there, but St. John, and actually if you're going to fly into St. Thomas or want to fly down there, I would suggest staying in St. John instead of St. Thomas if you wanted to stay there. It's prettier. It's got a different vibe, lots of bars, lots of restaurants, kind of a local, low-key place. And then it's got one of the consistently top-rated beaches in the world, which is Trunk Bay, which is, again, where we were attempting to go. It just got canceled. And on a cruise, it's difficult. It's a little bit of a ride over there. St. John is a boat ride to get there. And so we were trying to go there, but, again, Trunk Bay consistently rated one of the top beaches in the world as well. So if you want to go over to St. John, a lot of times there's a day trip over there. And if the cruise line doesn't offer it, you can take, actually, a taxi to the ferry port and go over there yourself. Just keep an eye on your time. Make sure you allow plenty of time to get back on the ferry and get back and then catch your taxi. But I've known multiple people. In fact, we had a follower on the Facebook page told us when it got canceled, we had already rebooked our excursion, but that's what we should have done, would have been just taking a taxi and do it yourself. We were a little unfamiliar with that process. We didn't want to get ourselves into trouble and not be able to get back. But everybody says that is something that is totally feasible to do. Just keep an eye on your time. So.
And I know we'll be back to St. Thomas.
And we will go to St. John.
Yeah, so I know that about us, is that's one of our favorite places, St. Thomas, St. Martin. So we will be back, and we will go to St. John's and go to Trunk Bay. So stay tuned.
We'll follow the advice of one loyal viewer.
Yeah, stay tuned.
So this time in St. Thomas, because the St. John Trunk Bay excursion was canceled, Audrey went down to the Shore Excursions desk and was talked into doing Secret Sands Beach. They offered us free drinks.
Yep.
We took it for better or for worse.
And I joked with Blake. I said, what about me says this one has free drinks? And he goes, were you holding a drink in your hand? I said, that's beside the point. So anyways. But
yeah, you walked up there with a drink. I imagine her trying to sell you.
And there was like 3 excursions. There was 3 different beach options, and she specifically said, "This one, the drinks are included." And so
So
I was like, "Hey, fair enough. That sounds great." So I double checked with Blake, and we bought our tickets, and we were ready to go.
Yep. So we went to Secret Sands Beach, which is in Smith Bay, which is on the eastern side of the island. You could actually see St. John, which was kind of, I don't know. It was like we wanted to go there, and you could see it. we couldn't get there. But it was beautiful. There's nothing to complain about. It rained on us just a minute when we got there, and then the sun came out. The water was calm like we like. We love calm water beaches. One of the best things about the Caribbean is you can find calm water beaches where you can stand, waist to chest deep, have a drink in your hand. There's not waves crashing. There's not undertow. You can let the kids play out there. The sand is soft. It was actually a pink sand beach, which I have never seen before. Didn't really know why it was called pink until the sun came out. And you can actually see it glistening, kind of a pink. It's not like pink, like a flamingo pink, or it's like a pink, like a hue. It's got a pink hue to it.
Yeah. And this was inside a national park, so that was kind of neat.
No buildings.
There were no buildings. It was all trees and all greenery around. Kind of secluded. Really the only people that were at that beach were the ones on the tour, so that means it wasn't crowded. And some of the coming days we'll talk about crowded beaches, and this was not one of the crowded beaches. And like Blake said, it did rain just a little bit, but one of the things I thought was neat on this shore excursion was when we got out, the guide was talking about all the things they had had available to us. They had the what are those things called? Noodles. They had noodles that you could swim with. They had snorkeling gear. They had, of course, beach chairs if you wanted to lay out on beach chairs. That guy had drinks. He had snacks. I mean, I was very impressed with all the stuff that they had to, we could do whatever we wanted, use whatever we wanted, and I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, it was. And again, it was all inclusive. It had free drinks, and he did have snacks, and that was just at will. You just tipped the guide, and then about halfway through, this guy came out.
I was wondering if we were going to talk about
weird
that.
Deal. Yeah, he had like it was a floating bar. It had a boom box in the middle. He had all this liquor, like a lot of liquor,
like big bottles.
Yeah, big bottles of liquor, and it was like whatever you wanted. I mean, it was a floating bar, and the people would walk up to him, and he would say, "Oh, this is just mine. This is just for me."
You would have thought he was with the guy because he was sitting up by the guide that was there when we got there. And you would have thought he was with that guy, but he was not.
No, he wasn't. And I think he was trying to avoid the appearance. He was like taking business. We don't know why he was taking business. But he was selling them.
Yes.
Some people just decided not to get out of the water and take the free drinks and were just buying. They were partying with this guy. And,
he had music.
And come to find out, it was not his personal alcohol. He was selling it. But he was a nice guy, very friendly guy.
And he said he built that thing. So I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, it looked like something you would see on like a river. Like you were like floating on the river, like Spring River, or something like that is what it looked like.
Yeah, I mean, I was highly impressed with his little contraption he had. So I told Blake, so we need to get us one of those.
Yeah, he was a cool guy, and but it was a neat vibe. Again, no development, no buildings, beautiful, clear, calm water. Definitely an option. Again, first timers, Magens Bay or St. John, but it was not a bad alternative. I felt a lot better about us missing out. Not that I wanted to miss Trunk Bay, but it was a good day. It was a great way. This was our first port of call of the cruise, and it was just a great way to get everything started. We had a wonderful day. Then afterwards, it took us up to Skyline Drive. We were able to look at the scenic overlook, get a couple of drinks. We headed back to the ship, walked around some of the shops, and then we headed back on board, where that night we had dinner at Chops. The staff in Chops was really good, but they were extremely overworked, very short staff. The place was really crowded. The waiter did a terrific job. It was not a long experience, but he was just he was very, very busy. The bread and the butter in Chops, I don't know what they do to the butter.
Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
We had a great night back on board, and then we set sail for what would be our next stop, which was St. Croix. So great day. Every time you go to St. Thomas, if you do the Eastern Caribbean, St. Thomas is probably going to be on the itinerary. It's getting more and more popular again after it recovered from the hurricane. But do not, and I will say this about the Eastern Caribbean, and we'll talk more, the Eastern and Southern Caribbean, St. Thomas, St. Martin, St. Croix, St. Lucia, St. Kitts, Barbados, Antigua, there's nothing like them.
No.
And you ask people who have sailed around the world. We watch a show. It's called Sailing Zatara. Shameless plug. They're on YouTube. They have sailed around the world on their catamaran, and they love the Caribbean, the sea life, the coral, the beaches, the people. That's not, and I don't want to say this, the Western Caribbean is great.
Yeah.
Cozumel is a ton of fun. We're going to talk about that. We're going there in a month. We're going to go to the Western Caribbean. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think there's a lot of people, particularly where we're from around here, that is a comfort zone for them. And they've never been down this way. And do not lock yourself into thinking that that Cozumel is the end of the Caribbean universe or that you've seen it.
Yeah.
Because you just really haven't.
Yeah.
And so if you ever talk to us about a cruise, we're going to try to push you down that way. And it's not because we think that the other areas are bad. And if you're on a very limited budget, if you need to drive or you got a big family and you can't pay for plane tickets, you can take those cruises and they're wonderful.
Yeah.
There's beautiful places down there that you can go to, but there's nothing like the Eastern and Southern Caribbean. Try an Eastern Caribbean first. Hit St. Thomas, hit St. Martin.
Be in the spoiled club, like me.
And then keep going, right? Go to the Southern Caribbean because the deeper you get into the actual, what I call the actual Caribbean, which is that chain of islands, people say the Saints, as they call them.
Yes.
Those islands, which we hit most of them on this cruise. Just try it, please. And it's just a different type of cruising. I've had so many people that they'll go and they'll have a fun in Cozumel, like, it was just okay. And I'm like, it is. It's a great place. But it's nothing compared to these places. It will spoil you. Yeah. People want to know why we fly all the way to San Juan to go on a cruise instead of driving to New Orleans or Galveston, which we will do sometimes too. And we're doing it again in April. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. But please do not, if you're a cruiser or consider yourself a cruiser, or you've gone on multiple cruises, you can do it from Port Canaveral. You can do it. And in fact, Carnival is going to start offering some longer cruises from Galveston that go down there. They're like 10 or 12 days, but just do it. There's nothing like it, and I hope over the next few days, because St. Thomas is just the beginning. We saw stuff in St. Croix we'd never seen before. Yeah. Then there's St. Martin, and it just gets better and better and better and better and better, and you just, again, spoiled.
Yep, absolutely. And another thing I like about all these Southern Caribbean islands, like we're talking about Eastern Caribbean islands, is that it's all of these places are so safe. They are. The people are friendly. It's safe to get out on your own. It's safe to leave the port, from where the cruise ship docks. And that's not necessarily the case in all the Western Caribbean islands, the ones that people are more familiar with cruising to. And that's another thing I love about it, is that you really feel like you can explore the island. You're not stuck to a cruise line short excursion. You can really get out, go eat somewhere, go get, go on your own, go find a beach you want to go to, whatever the case may be there. It's so much better than some of the other islands that you can't necessarily, it's not advised to get out on your own and get away from the cruise line short excursions. That's one of the other things I do love about it. So you're not going to miss. You are not going to miss by going to St. Thomas and any of the other saints, you could say. Yeah,
it's great. So give it a try. And again, if you want us to help you with that, we can help you with that. We are glad to give you any kind of advice to help keep you safe, keep you comfortable.
We'll send Norse Frog with you.
He is an enforcer.
He takes care of it.
Straight out of the cast of Goodfellas. He's big time. He looks like him. He looks like that guy that stole the dinosaurs on Jurassic Park and his little
Don't mess.
You
want
to see him in his little hat. He can't see because he goes over his eyes are on top of his head.
Yeah.
Let's get on to our cruise of the week. So I found a cool one this week when I was looking around. I was having a lot of trouble. I found one on the new booking engine on Cruise Brothers that I thought was a really good deal. It was Disney. Disney a lot of times on their website shows the prices as total. So like most cruise lines, it's per person. So if you see it's like $400 and something, it's actually going to be like $800 and something because it's per person. You got 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, but it ended up not being the case. It was actually like $2,500 a person. So I went away from that one.
Yeah.
But I found a 5-night Key West and Bahamas cruise on December 11th, 2023. There's other dates, but this was the best price. On Celebrity Summit with Celebrity Cruise Lines. Had interior rooms under $300. This was as of the 16th. Keep in mind, these prices do change. So if you call us in 3 days, it could be different. It could be less. It could be more. There were $500 balcony rooms. And it hit Key West, Bimini, and Nassau. So,
and you always we were talking about Bimini the other day, and it's one of the prettiest islands in the Bahamas.
When you see pictures and images of the Bahamas, that's what you're seeing most likely is Bimini.
Yeah.
So that's a cool cruise. Great price, very unique itinerary.
That you can't beat that. $500 for a balcony.
Yeah, sails from Miami.
That's pretty awesome.
So you can fly down there, spend a couple of days in South Beach, and take off on Celebrity, which is a great cruise line. Better for adults, but it is very nice, very swanky. So very cool. That's our cruise of the week. If you'd like to book that, you can get on CruiseNReview.com, and we would be more than happy to send you to Key West and the Bahamas on this 5-night cruise on board Celebrity Summit. And then don't forget about our giveaway. We told you about this at the very beginning. If you will subscribe to our podcast and our blog, so here's the deal. You can hit the subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube right now. That's step one. Step two is go to CruiseNReview.com about midway down the page and put your email address in there. That is how you are entered to win. And what this is people that subscribe to our podcast and our blog are entered to win a drawing where if you book a cruise through us or any kind of trip, doesn't have to be a cruise, could be a hotel, could be a resort, could be Disney, could be anything, we will actually give you our portion of the commission back. Could be anywhere from $50 to $500, depends on the trip you book. We will give you our portion of the commission back. You have 3 more weeks to enter that. So subscribe on YouTube and then go to, or you can subscribe on our podcast if you're listening to this on Apple, Spotify, any of those. You can just subscribe, hit the download button there, and then go to our website, CruiseNReview.com, cruise.nreview.com, and you can subscribe there, and then we will notify you. The drawing is April 3rd on that show is when we're going to do it. So 3 more weeks to enter. And again, so there's no purchases necessary to enter. You do not have to purchase anything to enter. And then you will, if you book your cruise through us, we will give you our commission back on that particular cruise or vacation or whatever.
Land vacation,
whatever
whatever
you
want
to do. Whatever you want to do.
So
It could be a hotel.
And like Blake said, it means it could be $300, could be $500. That's a pretty big coupon.
If you want to book the Holiday Inn in Little Rock for a night, it might be $10. But you can do whatever you want. We will give you that commission back on that particular trip. And then stay tuned because we're going to continue to give things away. We might I've been thinking about giving away something. North Rock's birthday is Tuesday.
Yes. He's so excited.
He's very excited.
Can't you tell?
Was he turning 8?
He's turning 8.
You do that in frog years.
8 years.
He's getting like an old man. So you'll see him on his cruise, but it's a little rascal. Just like riding all around. He can't reach the pedals, but it's fine.
We've been putting up with him, or he's been putting up with us. I don't exactly know which. For 8 years. So
follow us on social media, and because Northstroke will likely give away something on Tuesday for his 8th birthday. So,
yes.
So stay tuned to us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, and then of course our website, CruiseNReview.com. On the show next week. Our next show is March 27th. That'll be next Monday. They come out on Mondays. Sometimes you can catch it Sunday night if you're just peering around, but we start pushing it on Monday morning, so you can do that morning when you drive to work. You can listen anywhere you listen to your podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, and then, of course, here on the YouTube page to see the video and everything else. The ones on Apple are audio only.
Yes.
We will be talking about St. Croix next week, and we went to one of the best beaches we've ever been to.
Yeah, and we've decided that we're just going to take a bag of Ruffles and a boat and go there next time. So, because it's incredible. It's a place, St. Croix, we've never been to before. So it was awesome to get to explore a whole nother place, and I can't wait to share it.
I lost 70 pounds, and it was Ruffles. Was a big culprit of that.
Yes.
That's our priority. We're going to go to Buck Island, and we're going to take a bag of Ruffles.
I say that because
some lady did
that. There was a lady... There was a couple that had taken a private boat to the beach we're going to talk about, and she had a huge bag of Ruffles, and she was just going to town. And I thought, that's a great life. She lives a great life, is what I thought.
If she would have had like a bag of just like plain Lay's, would her life have been not as okay? Just making sure we were clear on what
sour cream and onion chips, we would have been doing better.
But I mean, just like plain like old school Lay's.
No. I wouldn't
she would not have been having as good a time on Buck Island.
Yeah, I wouldn't have brought up the chips.
Just wanted to make sure everybody understood where we were at with that. Make sure you follow us on social. Follow Norris Frog. He is on social media.
Yes. Instagram and Twitter.
The producer, he is on Instagram and Twitter. And his birthday is Tuesday. And it will be a big day for that little guy.
Yeah. Make sure you wish him a happy birthday. And in like 34 days... something like that.
Yeah.
We're going back to his home.
He was born in Galveston,
Texas.
At a Rainforest Cafe in Galveston, Texas. So he's going home. He keeps telling us that it's rescue, rehabilitate, and release. So I don't know if he'll be around or not. I don't know what's going to happen. He might decide to stay there. And, it's up to him. We just want what's best for him. He's our guy. So. Boy, we got off the rails here. All right. Thank y'all so much for joining in to Cruise and Review. Our next show is March 27th. We will be talking about St. Croix and Buck Island. We really went all over St. Croix. So tons of video, tons of pictures. Beautiful place. One of the prettiest places I've ever been in my entire life. That was Buck Island over off of Christianstead in St. Croix. So that's Norris Frog. I'm Blake.
And I'm Audrey.
We're the Cruise and Review team. Bye-bye for now.
See you later.